Alaskan wilderness lies buried under a thick, endless blanket of snow. A freezing northern wind howls violently through the dark pine forest. A massive mother grizzly and her tiny cub walk the frozen path. The young cub playfully rolls along the dangerous, slippery blue ice. Suddenly, the tiny bear loses its balance near a steep edge. It tumbles down into the freezing darkness of a deep crevasse. Trapped at the bottom, steep, icy walls surround the helpless cub. The desperate mother looks down frantically into the dark, icy pit. She reaches her massive paw down, trying desperately to grab him, but her sharp claws only slip against the smooth, unbreakable ice. The shivering cub cries out softly into the freezing, empty air. Heartbroken, the mother roars her frustration in the unforgiving winter sky. Knowing she cannot reach him, she slowly turns and walks away. She waits in the dark shadows of the forest, completely helpless. At the bottom of the ice, the cub shivers, entirely alone. Later that day, a lonely figure walks the quiet, snowy path. Elias, an old ice fisherman, pulls his heavy wooden sled through drifts. Wrapped in a thick shearling coat, he battles the bitter cold. Freshly caught silver salmon lie frozen upon his rustic wooden sled. Suddenly, the old man pauses, hearing a faint, heartbreaking cry. He carefully walks toward the dangerous edge of the deep crevasse. Peering into the darkness, his eyes widen with shock and pity. The freezing cub looks up at him, pleading for its life. Without hesitation, Elias pulls off his heavy, thick leather winter gloves. He reaches down gently and lifts the tiny, shivering life out. Standing in the freezing wind, he unbuttons his thick shearling coat. He tucks the freezing baby safely against his warm, beating heart. Wrapping his arms tight, he shares his life-saving human warmth. The tiny cub closes its eyes, finally feeling safe and secure. Elias grabs the rope of his sled, ready to move on.
He gently places the wrapped cub onto a blanket on the sled. He feeds the starving baby a small piece of fresh salmon. The cub eats eagerly, regaining a tiny spark of life energy. Elias continues pulling the sled along a very narrow, dangerous cliff. Suddenly, chunks of snow begin falling from the high mountain peak. A terrifying roar echoes as a massive avalanche crashes down rapidly. Elias looks up in pure terror at the falling white wall. The heavy snow crashes down, completely blocking the only narrow path. His wooden sled gets hopelessly buried beneath the solid, heavy ice. He looks at the trapped sled, knowing he must leave it. He quickly snatches the cub, tucking it safely inside his coat. With his free hand, he grabs 2 fresh salmon by the tail. Using every ounce of strength, he climbs the unstable snow pile. His heavy leather boots sink deep into the treacherous, loose avalanche. Exhausted, he finally crosses over and reaches the safe path ahead. He pants heavily, his white breath filling the freezing winter air. From deep within the pine forest, a silent watcher observes him. The mother bear tracks his every move with sharp, protective eyes. Her gaze is fixed intently on the man carrying her baby. Elias pushes forward, disappearing into the blinding white of the snowstorm. Hours later, he reaches his warm, rustic log cabin in the woods. He pushes open the heavy wooden door, escaping the deadly cold. Inside the dark room stands a vintage cast-iron wood stove. He strikes a match, lighting a bright, life-saving fire within it. With a soft towel, he gently dries the shivering bear cub. He places the baby on a blanket right beside the fire. On the table, he carefully slices a fresh pink-silver salmon. He boils the chunks of fish in a heavy iron pot. His rough hands delicately pick every tiny bone from the meat. He places the soft, cooked salmon onto a rustic wooden plate.
He gently feeds the warm meat to the cub by hand. The baby eats happily, fully enjoying the taste of the fish. Elias smiles warmly, affectionately stroking the tiny creature's soft head. With a full belly, the adorable cub lets out a yawn. It curls up comfortably against the old man's heavy leather boots. Elias sits back in his rocking chair, feeling a deep peace. The firelight dances across the cabin, creating a haven of warmth. The tiny bear breathes softly, lost in a deep, peaceful sleep. Exhausted by the day, Elias also falls asleep in his chair. Outside, the heavy snow continues to fall silently into the night. Morning breaks quietly over the pristine, untouched Alaskan winter landscape. Massive, heavy paw prints press deeply into the fresh morning snow. The giant mother bear stands right outside the cabin's frosted window. Her huge claws gently scratch against the thick, icy glass pane. A terrifying, yet beautiful silhouette peers through the frozen white window. Her hot breath melts the ice, revealing one dark, intelligent eye. Elias wakes up suddenly, startled by the strange scratching noise outside. He looks at the window, locking eyes with the wild mother. He nods slowly. He knows exactly what he must do now. He gently scoops the sleepy baby from the warm wooden floor. He pulls the heavy wooden door wide open to the cold. Carefully, he sets the tiny cub down onto the fresh snow. The mother bear rushes forward with pure, undeniable maternal joy. She licks and nuzzles her baby, overwhelmed by the miraculous reunion. The cub presses tightly against its mother, safe once again forever. Before leaving, the mother turns her massive head toward the man. Her wild eyes convey a deep, silent and profound eternal gratitude. Elias raises his hand, offering a slow, gentle wave of farewell. The mother and cub disappear into the misty, wild pine forest. Elias sits by the fire, sipping coffee, his heart completely full.